of retail in India, and it's not me who's talking about it, it is Deloitte, which has released a report where they say the retail market, which was around $930 billion in 2022, may go all the way up to $1930 billion by 2030. So basically $1 trillion in the retail market being added in the next 8 years or so. And that would, of course, be led by the food and grocery category. The headline of this report is online business, which will grow from $70 billion in 2022 all the way up to $325 billion, as a result of which the online contribution growing from 7.5% all the way up to 17%. So to discuss this and more, we do have with us from Deloitte, Anand Ramanathan. Thank you, Anand, for joining in. And this report, an interesting one, a couple of things I wanted to understand from this. Since you say that food and grocery is likely to be the largest contributor in the big expanded pie of India's retail as well, and e-commerce is likely to read it higher as well. Let's talk about grocery e-commerce. Currently accounts for roughly, 1% of the overall grocery sales. How much do you think it will be by FY30?
Sure. So what we've seen is that post the pandemic, there's a lot of preference for contactless shopping, right? It's about 90% of consumers have said they want contactless shopping. And hence, we will see an impact of that in grocery too, because again, for the first time, this is we've been tracking this for a long time, but it's been the first time that convenience has a higher share than price, right? It's about 32% to 29% in terms of consumers' preference in food and grocery. So we believe that given how quick commerce is also growing, it will continue to add momentum and it will reach about 5% levels by about 2030.
Okay. Can you talk to us about some of the challenges that could be there for the growth numbers that you've given out? After how long do you think the growth will peak out? Some of the challenges that the players will have to face?
See, some of the biggest challenges is it's not so much about online versus offline, but it's more about integrating online with offline for a consistent experience. And hence, omni-channel retail and getting the right technology to provide a seamless experience to customers, getting the virtual and the physical to work in tandem to provide a customer experience is going to be really critical, right? So that's one big area. The second big area is, of course, profitability. So what we're seeing is that for e-commerce to be profitable, private labels will play a very important role. And increasingly, private labels we've seen across multiple categories, and some of the categories where it really has high penetration is areas like health and wellness, for example, right? Which traditionally needs a lot of trust, and hence a private label penetration of 60% in health and wellness is really critical. And it shows that private labels can play a role in growing profitability for both e-commerce as well as physical retailers.
How much is private label right now? You said it could be all the way up to 60%. How much is it in health and wellness right now?
So overall, it's about 5% of the market, expected to be about 25 to 30% of the overall sale of in retail, right? So wow. This is across categories.
You're expecting it to grow by 6 times. But, from our audience standpoint, who do you think would be the best place to benefit from this boom? I mean, we do have Reliance entering the retail space in a significant way, one of the biggest, in fact, the biggest. Then you have Avenue Supermarts, you have Shoppers Stop, you have Trent, and I'm not talking about the quick commerce players yet, the new industry guys. But from the incumbents right now, who do you think stands to benefit the most?
So I won't take specific names, but essentially, if you look at categories, the players who will benefit the most are those who operate in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right? If you look at e-commerce sales, it's grown by about 60% order volume in tier 2 and tier 3 compared to tier 1 and metros, right? So in that sense, players with a strong footprint in urban India beyond the 1 million plus cities will really benefit from this growth in retail. The second big category of players will be those who are particularly looking at, say, things like luxury retail, for example. We've seen that it's going to grow 4x compared to the rest of retail, which is about 2x, right? That's because millennials are increasingly looking at consumption and experiences which are luxury-led. So again, players in the luxury retail space, gems, jewelry, lifestyle goods, etc., they will all gain significantly. So these are all players to watch out for.
Interesting. So while you were talking about tier 2, tier 3 cities, can you give us a sense of what growth is looking like in the retail space in Bharat versus metros? And if we talk about the current retail size that we are seeing in non-metros, what are the growth opportunities here?
So roughly it is about 50%. Both are at about 200 billion each. This is metro and tier 1 vis-a-vis tier 2 and tier 3 and the rest of urban. And we will see a consolidation beyond the metros and tier 1s, right? And therefore you will see greater growth come from tier 2, tier 3 cities. And again, if you look at per capita income and especially middle income households, they're growing a lot faster in rural India than in urban India. So again, you will see potential uplift for retail in rural India compared to urban India, right? So these are all trends which show that retail in India is going beyond the metros and urban and tier 1 cities.
So the 930 billion, you said it's evenly spread between metro tier 1 and tier 2, tier 3. That will be a 64. Yeah, go ahead.
It's about 200 billion each.
Okay, 200 billion each. And going forward, tier 2 will surpass tier 1, right?
Significantly, right? It will be about a third higher than metros and tier 1.
Okay, so 6633. And finally, a couple of things. QCom, is it a profitable opportunity? I mean, it's growing a lot. Swiggy also grew by about 6 times in the last 1 year or so. We're seeing the numbers come by for Blinkit too, of the reported numbers that we have with us. Is it a profitable opportunity? That's one. And secondly, ONDC. I mean, will it be less impactful than UPI?
Sure. So I'll take the first question. If we were to look at ONDC, I think Kiranas itself, right, as a strong segment will continue to grow. I spoke of private labels. A lot of private label distribution will also happen through the Kirana store. And that's where ONDC will play a role in terms of making the Kirana's assortment visible to a wider audience and in a digitized fashion, right? So that's going to be a critical step in democratizing retail. And hence, it can have a very revolutionary impact comparable to UPI. On the second question, when it comes to quick commerce, that is going to be a challenge, right, from a profitability standpoint. But quick commerce should not be seen in isolation. It's one of the many ways by which a retailer provides an experience to the customer and reaches to the customer, right? So in that sense, quick commerce might not on its own standalone make money, but when it is combined with other parts of the retail offering, when you have a physical store, when you have a virtual presence, which is beyond quick commerce, when you bring all of that together as a pie, it increases consumer experience and customer retention is going to be really important for profitability going forward. And hence, that's the role that quick commerce should play in the portfolio. And we shouldn't really see unit economics of quick commerce on its own.
Okay, all right, Anand, thank you. Okay, all right. Those are some interesting insights. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking us through this recent report as well. So that's about the retail market, grocery in particular as well. We'll